In every writer are two writers. They share a sleep schedule, a resume, and a sense of self assurance. A writing career and writing practice are not synonymous. They are instead reciprocal, mutualistic. I think of them as like an Ouroboros bound in one writer's body. But in a sense, they're almost like two people sharing the same brain. Welcome to Ecstatic Stanzas, an educational series on creativity, community, and writing careers. I'm Evelyn Berry, your girlfriend's favorite poet. The practice is internal, introverted, motivated by one's own pleasure in the process, one's own exploration of psyche, craft, and language. Practice requires dedicated time, attention to one's own body, and how one arrives at the page. Practice requires failure, a long string of fruitless seasons and hope of future harvest. Practice takes self-discipline. Almost no one applauds practice. No one sees this work, done so often in the dark, in the slivers of dawn and long after the sun has gone down, snuck in between on lunch breaks or in line at the post office. The practice of writing is essential if we want to, write anything or publish anything or speak to another's heart. But that connection also requires the work of one's career, by which I mean revising and submitting, publishing, marketing, describing your work, and championing your work. A writing career may look like public readings or podcast interviews, magazine articles, paid and unpaid workshops, networking, community building, answering emails, reviewing and signing contracts, reading the work of others, engaging with the work of others through conversation, essays, class syllabi, or book reviews. In my case, it means crafting a essay once a month and creating a digital newsletter to share with people who have chosen to sign up to it. If you want to have a writing career, you first need the writing practice. And one might be tempted to suggest, as many ardently do, that the inverse is untrue, that you could hypothetically hold onto the writing practice without pursuing a career, without publishing or sharing the work. You could, like Emily Dickinson, write in secret and not share that work with anyone, not friends and not community and not strangers. You could do that, totally. But I believe strongly that writing, since the beginning of history, has been a communication technology. When we share our stories, our poems, our thoughts, we enter into an exchange with the world. We give our creative work generously and receive in turn a kind of energy. Whether that's a book review, a nice post on social media, or preferably an opportunity to be paid or to read, or just sometimes people might give you money. Once writing practice and writing career share this kind of symbiosis, they feed on one another. Our lives call for a balance of that introverted and extroverted energy, a cycle of seasons, not only the quiet production, but also the public output, right? We water the seeds, but we also sow the seeds and harvest the seeds. We have rest, right? I know it sounds superstitious, but I think that exchange of energy is important to consider. What are you pouring yourself into? From where are you receiving your nourishment? And how might your many selves, right? The part of you that has a writing practice and the part of you that has a writing career, how can they replenish one another? I often think of coming to the page as a way of being with myself, right? Stepping away from any kind of public scrutiny, even if that's praise or criticism. I'm with myself. I'm able to consider only what I think. But when I want to write again, I often want to go out into the world and share what I've done, right? The writing is only half of the story. The other half of that is actually sharing what I've done with the world. And this is true for all art forms, whether you're a visual artist or a filmmaker. I mean, can you imagine being a filmmaker who never shows their films to anyone? Why is it that writing is like this specific thing that we feel like that's not necessary? That we feel like we can continue to sustain a writing practice without ever getting energy back. So I just want you to consider this, especially if you're in the midst of writing a project or if you're in the midst of marketing a project, that the writing practice and the writing career require balance. You need both of them in order to sustain yourself. Remember, you are a real writer. So go write.